So we move on to Ruth, chapter 1, verse 4. So here's the first line. See if you can pronounce that. Here's how I would pronounce it. Vayis'u lahem nashim mo'aviyot shem ha'akat arpa. Okay, so what do we know here? If you've done a little bit of Hebrew, be sure and take my Learn Hebrew by Reading Jonah course if you don't know what I'm talking about here. But if you've been through that course, you should know that this is Vav Patak doubling, which is a converted imperfect, or the preterite. The Yod is therefore the performative of the imperfect. And then we've got a Sharuk at the end, so it's a 1-2 punch, Yod Sharuk, which means it's a they, a third masculine plural. And they. Now, there's only 2 consonants left. So we've got a problem, Houston. We've got a missing consonant, because Hebrew tends to have 3 consonants. So is it a sha'ah, or I'm sorry, it's a sin. Is it a sa'ah? I don't know that word. Is it a su, a middle week? I don't know that work. I know a su, but I don't know a verb in Hebrew. Now, it could be, sometimes things go funny on the front. Could be a yod, for example, yasa. I don't know that one. Nun assimilates when no vowel separates. Could it be nasa? I do know nasa. We've got liftoff at NASA. They went up. So what would normally happen is the nun would assimilate and it would double. But sometimes, this is an odd rule, that when there is a vocal schwa under a doubled consonant, it can lose its doubling. So maybe I mispronounced it. Maybe this is actually a vocal schwa, in which case it would be vayisa'u. Or maybe when the doubling goes away, it becomes a silent schwa. Maybe that's what happened here. So maybe it is vayis'u. But and they went up. Is the basic sense. Now, that doesn't make good context. So, we have to basically adjust to the context. So let's say, and they took up to themselves, or they took up for themselves. So it's by the way, this is G, or Grundstamm, the call stem, nothing done to it. So this is to, la, and hem is the object suffix for them, second masculine plural. So, and they took up to them nashim. They took up wives. Anashim, is what you might have expected, but the aleph has gone away. But anyway, Hirik Yod Mem is normally a masculine plural absolute ending, but obviously wives are not masculine plural. So this is one of those examples of where an old word doesn't follow the rules that may be developed later a little bit. So, and they took up, that is, these 2 brothers took up to themselves wives, Moabite wives. So here we see the true gender of wives with the ot, because cholam tav is a feminine plural absolute ending. So in its heart of hearts, nashim is feminine plural, even though it doesn't look that way. So, and they took up for themselves Moabitess wives. Shame means name, shame name. The name of, and I'm going to interpret that as a construct, that sere, if it's a historically long vowel, then it won't reduce its length in a construct situation. So the name of the one, achat, the name of the one was Orpah. So this is the here. The aleph should have doubled. Hey, patak doubling is the normal, but the aleph said, I'm a guttural. I don't do doubling. And so they tried to shoot a dagesh into it, bing, and it bounced off and made a patak into a kamatz. Not really. So, and the name of the one was Orpah. Let's keep going here. Vashem ha-shenit root. Va-yesh vu sham. Okay, so the name of the one was Orpah. And the name of the second, Shanit, was Root, or Ruth, as we say. And they dwelt there. So, Vav Patak doubling, another converted imperfect, or preterite. It has a yod, so it is a third person. And then we have a 1-2 punch with the yod sharuk, so it's a they, third masculine plural, and they. And then, again, what? We've got a 2 consonant again. So is it shavah with a third hey that's gone away? Or is it a middle weak, shuv? There is a verb, shuv. Or is it yashav, and the yod has kind of coalesced into the preformative? And it's the yod option. Sometimes you have to kind of experiment around, maybe dig in the dictionary a little bit. So, and they dwelt sham, there. Notice that shame is name and sham is there, and I guess these are 2 completely different words, pretty much unrelated. The difference is the vowel. Okay, unfortunately. Ka'aser shanim. What does this mean? Well, ka is a preposition that means like or as. In this case, about, and then eser, sorry, it's eser, ke'eser, ke'eser. It's a seglet, and the second to last syllable is usually accented on it with a seglet. Ke'eser, about 10 shanim, years, about 10 years. So they dwelt in Moab about 10 years. So there's a famine in Bethlehem. Just to remind you the story. Famine in Bethlehem. They leave Naomi and Elimelech. And they go to Moab, where there apparently is food. And while they're there, their 2 sons take wives of the Moabites. One is named Orpah, the other is named Ruth. And they stay there in Moab for about 10 years. And that is the verse of the day in Hebrew. Ruth 1, verse 4, as I recall.